What's up, folks?
Yeah, good evening. Good to be back.
It's this is the first episode of October.
That's right, it is. Our kind of going with our somewhat spookier Halloween theme this month, which I think we got a little bit of a topic. It's a little spooky.
I got a good one. Yeah. I got a very spooky one.
Okay, well, yeah, it might.
Yeah, that's what I'm springing it upon you. But yeah, I got a really good one.
Well, I'm excited to get into it. Well, I guess the obligatory how's harvest going?
Man, well, it was rolling on good. I finished up my corn, helped Dad. He got down to about 50 acres, and then he finished 30 today. And he's got 20 that they'll finish tomorrow. But I moved on over to my beans because I was like, well, you don't need me to help you with that.
Well, I saw y'all were both shelling corn on some of their ground.
Yes.
I go right by there taking my kids to school, and I saw both y'all's machines out there.
Which field?
Tipton.
Okay, yeah. They we got that knocked out. That farm was okay. You know, it probably averaged, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing, 120 or something, which normally that's terrible, but for this year, that's actually pretty good. And that farm typically averages like 200 or something. Yeah. It may not have. It probably averaged about 100 because I think I remember him saying it did about half what it should. But
how did yours turn out? Are you willing to say?
Yeah, I'll say because I'm not alone. I've talked to other farmers, and my total average was 83 bushel an acre.
Okay.
The big farm. Well, I say big farm. Probably my best farm that I had corn on, man, that's the one. It has the 40-acre piece and the 10-acre piece. The 40-acre piece, it looked like it was going to shell. I was expecting it to shell 40 bushel an acre. Like, I walked out in it, and it would be just no corn. And the part across the creek, the 10 acres, it always does great. Like, if the beans on the big part make 50, the 10-acre part makes 70. Like, it's always like a substantial difference.
Just better ground.
Better ground, and I've had soil samples pulled. There's nothing like major. Like, I mean, I have it sampled every year, but it's kind of a little bit lower ground, so I guess it may just, I don't know, naturally get a little more hydration. But that one, yeah, that farm, the big field probably did cut close to 50. But the little part cut probably 180 or 160.
Golly, yeah.
I mean, maybe 160. I didn't necessarily like keep up with the little part individually, but it was like, I mean, I was shelling some 200 bushel corn on this little part.
Just heavier ground.
Heavier ground. It's dark. The soil's dark. It's just good ground.
Yeah.
And
just holds more moisture.
Yeah. And so.
And that was everything this year.
Yep. If that little part wouldn't have done so well, it probably would have cut about 50. But the crazy part is right up the road, I've got an 18-acre farm, and it's just a hill farm. It's a hill farm. There's just a little bit of good on it. It actually ended up averaging like close to 100. It did better than all my other farms. And
you'd think the hill ground would have suffered
the worst. Yeah. Yep, but it did better, and I actually had heard guys saying that the hill ground did better, but it was really pretty wild. Like, I've never seen anything like it. Dad and I both were talking about it. You'd be shelling, and you could tell what you were getting into. The good corn was golden, like the stalk still had that like pretty golden color to it. Like, it's dried down, but it still had that kind of gold look to it. And you'd shell into it. I mean, you could hear the combine running through it, and all of it looked good. But then you could see the difference, man. The corn was gray. You would get out of that golden, and it would be gray. And as soon as the combine would touch it, the leaves would just disintegrate. It was like disintegrated leaves just flying everywhere. And then the combine would be quiet because no corn was running through it. Like, I'd go 50 yards, and my yield monitor would be on 0. And like, you'd look up in the back, and it was like spitting like one kernel out every now and then.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm like, good grief, man. So that is, yeah. But I will tell you, on us two last notes. The first one, I moved the beans, tried to cut beans today. Moisture's too high. So I told we'd try it again probably Friday afternoon or Saturday. It's got to dry.
And today's Wednesday, we're recording just for everybody. So,
need a couple more days, and I'm going to try it again. The beans that I cut are wet as shit. Like, I had to bump the combine, and I told the dude that was helping me, my driver, I said, man, we better spread these out. Because I said, if they probe these, they're not going to take them. I mean, I don't know what the moisture was on them. I know what I was seeing in the combine, and it was pretty damn ridiculous. And so I was like, we're going to have to stop. And
just cut one hopper? Or?
Yeah, not even quite a full hopper. I mean, we like to go into that. I will tell you, I did ask, I had somebody ask them for any critiques of our show. I said, any critiques, any feedback that I'd like to hear. What would you like to hear more of or any of that? And they said they would like for us to go more in depth on the ags, like just to go further into detail on it.
Okay.
Which I think is good because they were like, we got a lot of guys listen that aren't in ag, but we have quite a few guys that listen that are in ag.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like I say, you get too much inside baseball where we're talking in lingo and stuff that I feel like may get too deep for some people, but
they want it. It's been requested. Okay. Yeah, it has been requested. So I will say, I'll explain a little bit here. So around the edge, like anybody, if you go out into a field, it's always shady around the edge. I mean, that's where the trees shade the ground. And out in the middle of the field, the beans are dry. Man, they're super dry.
Yeah.
I was going around the edge, and it got up to 24% on beans. Beans need to be below 13%.
Right.
And, I could tell. I looked in the hopper, and it looked like lima beans in the hopper. And I was like, golly. And, there was a bunch of pods in the hopper. Got my fan running high. And so I cut into the middle of the field and started going. And the moisture dropped down to like 15%. But as wet as those were on the edge, like I made about 2 passes. I told Brad that was with me, I said, man, I needed the moisture in the middle to be like 12 to make up for this other. So I said, we're going to have to stop. And so what we'll do, I spread it out on the truck. I went front to back, spread out. I left it uncovered. It's uncovered right now. Like there's no chance of rain. I'm hoping that it'll like dry a little bit on the truck. And we'll come back in, hopefully in 2 days, we'll cut some beans and there'll be 12% moisture. And we'll pile that we'll fill the truck up with all that. And hopefully when they probe it, if y'all watch the YouTube video where we talked about the probing, you'll see what they do. They probe usually in the front and in the back. And you're hoping that they get enough dry beans to where they
don't go quite that deep.
Yes.
To get those spread out on the bottom.
And there is ways people try to cheat the system, not cheat the system, try to kind of beat the probing, but I will not give that information out across in case we've got some granaries tuning in here. You can DM me on Instagram, and if I don't think you're a narc for the granaries, and I'll try to help you.
I bet they know all the tricks.
They probably do, but
I bet they've seen it all.
I've seen this one work firsthand, so it's effective.
Speaking of cheating the system, and this is not really ag related, but you probably saw it went all viral over the weekend, the guys that were cheating in the fishing tournaments.
Golly, yeah, it did. Man, I'm surprised them dudes made it out of there.
Well, and the guy, he just stood there. I was like, I really don't know what he was supposed to do.
I don't either. He
just go get in the truck and leave.
Yeah. I was like, it's about to be an ass whooping.
Because like that ain't even like operating in a gray area or nothing. And for those of you that didn't see it, so I believe it was walleye.
Yeah.
But it was fishing tournament. Where you win big money.
Yeah, what'd they say they had won? Like 300 grand total?
Oh, I think it's like sometimes you win like vehicles or boats. And so big time money, which I imagine there'll be like criminal charges because
I think it's a felony.
Oh yeah. The amount of money will make it a felony, no doubt.
Yeah.
But they were stuffing these fish with weights which I always thought that a lot of those tournaments, they x-rayed the fish like that. You couldn't even get
well, maybe some of your, well, I don't know how big that is,
or like you could run some kind of a magnet over them or whatever. You always hear the game warden can do that to see if you've been using lead shot in ducks. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Thankfully, I've never been checked or been in that situation. Like they have a way of knowing. But they were stuffing some of them with fillets from other fish. So I'm like, well, that was maybe a little smarter because that's obviously you don't add near as much weight like that.
But if you're going to add the lead weight, what's the point in putting the fillet?
Oh, I guess, yeah, I don't know. Right, exactly, because you're already going to get caught. But, yeah, I don't know. I didn't read into it far enough. I just watched, the couple of minute video.
Oh, man. I will warn you.
And like, I don't blame the other dudes for, because, like, yeah, like they've probably been fishing the same tournaments, getting their ass beat by these guys weekend after weekend. And then you find out they've been cheating the whole damn time.
Did you read into it where they've been suspicious of them? Like some people.
Well, that's what I figured. Like, they've probably been winning every time. And they're like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Well, I figure too, like, I don't know, because I'm around cows all day, every day. Like, and especially, I can even more so with like dogs and cats, 'cause that's my everyday job. Like, I can look at a dog and I like to test myself at like how much it's going to weigh.
Yeah.
And I can come pretty dang close. I would imagine guys who fish for a living, you can look at a fish and be like, I know what that weighs.
Yeah, well, it's
and then and there can, like, that fish weighs a pound more. Like, are you kidding me?
It's just like with bass. Like when I haven't gone in a little while, but when I got into it, like you see a bass and you're like, okay, that's a 5 pound bass. Like I would. Yeah, you can look at it. I was catching them and I'm like, this is a 5 pound bass.
So it's not.
So that is true. I hadn't even thought about that.
Which I guess probably at first they start, they're just putting a few ounces of weight into every fish. It's not enough. But then they just you keep getting away with it. You keep getting away with it. And you push it further.
Didn't some people even say they had it won without the weights?
Oh, I don't know. I was the typical like internet person who like only reads the headlines of a story. Like I only watched like 30 seconds of them. Like it was hard to watch because it was like it's one of those things where it's like you're kind of cringing the whole time. You're like, there's about to be a fight. Like, it was so awkward and cringy.
Dude, I was waiting for somebody to just smoke that guy. And the guy that was opening, he was like, "You mother," it was F-bombs flying.
A few of the people that shared it, they're like, language warning. But yeah, anyway, there's your kind of off topic. Talking about cheating, so.
They definitely did. Well,
so you don't ever expect to pull up to the granary and then probe really down deep and then come out there and cuss you and
no,
accuse you of cheating and
we didn't come to cussing, but I will say it's been some aggravation with the granary here in the past few days.
Well, it kind of, so are they? I know obviously you've been on the issue of they won't take anything that's not contracted. Is that it, or?
Yeah, but now they're closed.
Well, is it because they can't take anything because of the barges?
Yeah.
So that's actually made it all the way to national news.
Really?
One of the in-depth ag forecast I watch, the Nutrient Ag with Eric Snodgrass. Check him out on YouTube. I think he puts it out on Mondays and Thursdays. So it's Monday when normally he doesn't really talk about the river stages, but he went pretty in depth, and I was trying to cook supper and kind of had one eye on the TV.
Yeah.
But was really talking about it, and so I was like, man, this must really be getting, and so I started looking it up, and yeah, it was all over several of the national news websites and whatnot if you really searched for it, and they weren't talking specifically about, ag commodities, but just barge traffic in general.
Yeah.
Is really having an issue right now because the river is at historically low levels, and not just, of course, the Mississippi River, but, other tributaries, but the Mississippi's obviously a major artery. I mean, that's pretty much, because we're right here. I mean, literally, we're just a few miles from the river. All the grain harvested around here goes to the river.
Yeah.
Even the guy, you may take it to a grain bin, and store it on farm if you got it, but it's eventually going to one of our granaries on the river. I guess we do have an ethanol plant in there.
There is the one other place is that Tosh.
Yeah, Tosh Farms.
Is that in Humboldt? It's like 100 miles.
No.
Paris.
Yeah, they're outside of Paris. I can't remember what the little town is. Yeah, they're right there on. So they're big hog operation.
Yeah, some guys have been hauling there because
they'll take corn.
They'll take corn with aflatoxin. I guess they don't care. I guess hogs don't care. Gosh dang,
as a veterinarian, bastards. I should know. But Well, see, I've got some friends up in that area, and that's what they said. Tosh has actually put pressure on some of their grain elevators in that area because
they're taking so much.
Well, right, and just competition. In terms of grain.
Good.
Right. Granaries having to be open longer hours and stuff like that. Yeah. Right, exactly. A lot of the same problems.
Imagine that, yeah.
Because, it's not just, you don't just have the one or two grain elevators you can go to, but you got, and to me, just in the grand scheme of things, in the whole keeping things local, I'm growing my corn right here and it feeds pigs right here. I don't know. We ought to ask Lee, who works for Cargill. I would imagine a large percentage of our grain that goes to the river is exported.
I would think so. Yeah.
Because obviously
he's going to come back on maybe next week.
Okay.
I mentioned to him we wanted to talk about the ROI or whatever. Yeah. I guess equipment and the breakdown, and I think he said maybe next week.
Okay.
So next episode we may have him on here.
But yeah, because I've always assumed because obviously a lot of the corn and soybeans and whatever goes to feeding pigs and chickens and cattle right here in this country, or it's manufactured in a feed for goats and horses and everything else. But obviously pigs, chicken, and beef being the primary animals that we end up eating. But because obviously we export a good bit of grain too, and so ours is already going right to the river, which goes to the Gulf. So surely a lot of that's probably what ends up going to South America or China or wherever.
Yeah. Well, tell you too, the issue. I actually just talked to Lee the other day. That's why we got talking about it, because I called him. I needed some advice from a guy that understands the markets much better than me. Because here's what we've run into. So, look, man, I get it. The river's super low. Like I don't fault our grain elevator. I'm not going to mention any names, but I don't fault our local guys. But here's the deal. All right, if I got 20,000 bushel of beans contracted with you, but the river's too low, you can't load barges, and you can't be open, then in my opinion, you should release the contracts, because I've been on the phone with them. I kind of had to get a little bit, I guess the big C had to come out in me a little bit.
So just so I understand, so you got beans contracted for October.
Yeah, October. Well, they're October, November.
And it's clearly October right now.
Yeah.
But they won't even let you deliver them right now.
No.
And of course, from their perspective, like they can't take them. Like they have nowhere to put them.
Yeah.
Because normally they have a little bit of storage there on site, but pretty much you dump it off a truck, it goes into one of their bins, and then, or whatever they store it in, bunker, whatever.
And then they load it on the barge.
And then they're pretty much immediately, they're constantly loading
At 8 a.m., my driver said he's seen it. He has said he sat there unloading, and you can look out and you can see it going on a barge. Like they even have like a direct load.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, most of them are going into a bin, and then the barge comes up at a later point and they unload.
Right, yeah, and then the barge is, of course, how they get rid of it.
Yep. Now where it's getting all right, so my thing has been,
but now you're in that contract period and they won't even let you deliver it.
Yes.
And so like you're suggesting now to just cancel the contract.
And see, and so this is the way the market kind of goes down. Like my average price is higher. My average contracted price is significantly higher than what the current cash price is.
So really it would be to their advantage to cancel them.
Well, technically they would have to pay me equity.
Right. Okay,
if I wanted to. I'd say, all right, let's cancel them. And then they'd have to pay.
They would owe you the difference.
Yep.
Yep. And that makes sense.
And so I'm being a nice guy. I told him, I said, I don't want the equity. I said, just let me out of the contracts.
I just want to be able to.
Yeah. I said, because when I cut my beans, I'm hauling my beans.
Yeah, because you don't have any storage.
I don't have any storage. That's what I told him. I said,
so if you can't deliver them, you can't harvest.
Right.
You're just dead in the water.
And I said, because see, I'm a big Asgrow decal fan. I've reached out to them, so hopefully we'll hear something. But I'm a huge Asgrow decal fan. The corn, I love it, and the Asgrow, the 46X6 beans are the most bad to the bone bean. They will do great anywhere, but them jokers pop out like crazy when it gets dry.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
And so, and to Asgrow's credit, they've come out with, I think, the 48X9, planted some of them. We'll see how they do. They're supposed to be very similar, but they hold on to the bean more, so we'll see. But 46X6 is a super badass bean. It just can't hold on to them. And so I was explaining that to this guy because my first I've got.
So is the issue that there's another granary that can take delivery right now?
Yes.
But where you're contracted cannot?
Yeah.
So see that? Yeah,
that's not.
Yeah, they need, oh man, yeah, that's.
See, they're trying to make me. So here's the two options.
So they want you to wait until like late November to bring them.
The guy was like, man, we're trying to make room. Okay, I get you. I get it. But it's not going to get any better. The river's going lower. So it's not getting any better. It's going to go, record lows. And they're trucking it out. Well, I happen to know one of the truckers that tried to go truck for them, and they didn't offer hardly any pay, and they actually even told him that they had enough truckers. So they're not even like, to me, that's not a desperate push to be unloaded. Like, because, me and Dad were talking about it. Being that my whole industry is on the river there, if I were a granary, I would be looking at the forecast of the river. And when I saw, okay, man, damn, it's about to get really dry, right then I'd have been like, we got to get this shit unloaded. We got to get this out of here. And I have hauled there in the past, and there was times when I had hauled there. This isn't like unfamiliar territory. Man, I've gotten there before, and they would actually be loading a truck, and then the next truck would come up and they would unload it. So like they were doing it like in tandem. Like you might be in line with a guy that was there to get grain to go take it somewhere else.
Yeah, they were taking it off your truck and putting it right onto his.
Yeah. And so that's where I try to get along with everybody. Like I'm trying to be a nice guy. Always gotten along with these people. And so I was like, look, I said,
from your perspective, it's like, look, I'm harvesting the grain right now and I'm delivering it right now.
Yes.
Somewhere. And I'm wanting to deliver it to you to honor my contracts. And you're telling me no.
Yeah.
That's a you problem. No, I completely
see the two options. They were like, well, we've given options. Cause I said, look, how is it my fault that the granary that I am contracted with at the location that I'm contracted with, because on the contract it has the location. Like I went back and looked. I was like, let me make sure.
Yeah, destination. They're not going to tell you to go to a granary 100 miles from here.
Yeah, and so one of the options is past Dyersburg, and I'm like, that's not an option. And the other one is across state lines. So I'd have to cross scales, and my truck is not licensed to go across state lines. So I said, those are neither of those are viable options for me. I said, the Dyersburg one, I said, I have one truck, one driver. I said, just going would take over an hour and a half.
Would it be twice as far or even further than that, just for everybody else's perspective?
Probably twice as far.
Yeah. So
it's not plausible for me.
And I understand it's a logistical nightmare for them. Like they just can't physically move the grain like they normally think they can. And I guess they don't, is there any rail car,
They're actually, they're right by a train track. So I don't know.
I don't know if any of that's still, because the train.
I've seen a train on it before, like in the last probably 2 years.
I'm sure, hell, if I'm sitting here thinking of this, I'm sure they have too. Yeah. But I was just wondering, I
don't know, but they finally, like I called Lee, asked him, it's not Cargill. He works there. So I called him and I was asking him, and see, they were shut down for 7 days. They had a barge, the river being low, barge ran aground and ripped, broke in half. Like it got crazy. They were down for 7 days up there, and they let guys out of their contract. Cause I was telling him about it, and he was like, man, he said, honestly, he was like, that's just bad business. And that's what I said, man.
Well, especially if you're telling them, like, I don't even want the equity. Like, they ought to be, it seems to me, they'd be like, oh shit, we got out of that one easy.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
No, well, it gets worse. They said that I was going to have to pay because I said, man, those options aren't going to work. And the guy said, well, I'm looking at your contracts and you would have to pay us on the majority of your contracts. And I said, I'm going to tell you the options. Like at this point I had gotten irritated and, I actually, that's when I called Lee and I was like, explain to me how, and so he like went over this and that's when he asked me my average price versus the cash price. And he said, how will you have to pay them anything? He was like, I had an 80-cent margin over their price.
Over spot price.
Yeah. And so that was the average. Like I had contracts from $12.30 all the way to $15.30. Like I had them because I started locking them in increments. That's how we can do an episode on contracts one day. But like I started booking it a little at a time. That's what I do. And so I got some at $15 and something. And so he told me, he kind of helped me formulate my response. And I got no response from that. So then I got mad. I was on the combine this whole time. I'm shelling corn. And this was like 2 days ago. And so then I got mad. And so the madder I got, because I was like, how are you going to tell me the options? And it kind of pissed me off. So then I just texted back.
When it's their problem.
Yes. Yeah.
And I understand it's not, I mean, it's
an act of God.
Yeah. But they've got to be the ones that are like, hey, look, this was something we weren't expecting. Like the contract is based on the assumption that we're going to be able to take the grain.
Yeah.
And clearly we can't. And so,
yeah. Well, that's what
to me, they should even be just willing to give you the equity. I mean, just as a business owner, I would say like, look, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't accept your grain. Cause that's already putting, hell, now you're having to haul to a place cause I know where you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's the place we prefer to haul to.
It's convenient.
It's the closest. And so now it's already putting you out.
Oh yeah.
And so I should, if I'm the manager there or whatever, I would think I'd be more than happy to try to help you out just so that, hey, maybe I can have your business again next year.
Yeah. Well, they ain't going to have to worry about very much of my business next year already. Yeah. Like, that's what because the fact that, I mean, I kind of had to get a little ugly. I just said, look, I said, I'm going to tell you the options. I said, option 1, y'all can be open and you can take my grain when I harvest it. And I said, option 2, you can cancel the contract. I said, you don't have to pay me any equity and I'm not paying any fees. And I said,
I think you're being awfully generous saying they're not going to pay you any equity.
I know, but I'm I'm like, look, I get it. It's act of God, but here you go.
Yeah. I don't know.
See, and they were like, well, they even offered me 15 cents over contract to haul elsewhere. And I'm still like, it's not the
time
point.
And the fuel. Yeah.
If they offered me $1 over contract, I'd be like, well, I could probably justify the long drive, but I can't go to the one across the gosh damn state lines because I'm not set up for that. And that's what I was like, I am not set up for that. And so
it all goes back to you were contracted
to this destination.
So
and
go ahead, yeah.
But that's why I said I don't understand how I am liable when my contracted destination is closed. And
so were those the 2 options?
I did give a third. I told them they could kiss my ass. No, I'm just kidding.
I was hoping it was going there.
No, I should have. I mean, I said the third option is you can bring a truck to the field and you can pick it up yourself. And I said, but that's probably a stretch. And then he wrote me back and he just said, we're working to get the granary unloaded and open for contracts. He said, I have passed your concerns on. What it boils down to is it's too corporate. You're not talking to anybody.
Right. Like, the dude you're talking to is just doing.
He's just the guy.
He's not the decision maker.
No.
Yeah. But that last one you mentioned is actually, I could see there might be some hurdles there, but if they're already having to haul at other places anyway.
Yeah, just come get it.
Well, they could, and then if you had to, they could work it out to where you'd take less money.
They could knock 15 cents off if they want to.
Right, because then you're not having to go to the trouble of hauling it.
Yeah.
They're already having to haul it anyway. And again, there's probably all kinds of logistical issues there. And then, they're contracted truckers having to come to your field. And,
well, see, one of the first problems is they don't pay worth a shit on the drivers, because that's what they didn't offer hardly anything for the guys. I mean, it's a short haul.
A lot of cost tied up in those guys, because I don't know where they're hauling it to. I guess across state lines.
Yeah, they're not hauling it far, but I don't know.
But it probably wouldn't cost them that much more to just tell that guy, hey, instead of coming here to our elevator, this guy's going to coordinate with you, and you're going to be hauling for him.
See, the bad thing, unless they have like scales on the trailer, that's what I explained to him too. I said, I don't have scales. So look, all right, look, I'll reveal a secret that's not a secret about farming. We overload the shit out of our trucks. Like, it is no secret, row croppers, we're not crossing scales.
Yeah, that 80,000 pounds we were talking about a week or two ago.
That is like, if you got 80,000 pounds on there, you don't have enough. Like, you need like that. That's like,
so I guess, when those trucks are leaving there, they are making sure they don't have.
Yeah, they have to be by the book. They have to be put to the weight. And so that's the problem. Now, some trailers have scales. Like my Kenworth has a gauge in there that you can tell. Like, and I guess if you learned how to read it, like if you got familiar with it, you would know, like, okay, this is the number I need to be on. And that's how, I can tell, like corn, I can tell when the wagon is loaded, because it'll be like I don't remember how the numbers work. I think it's supposed to represent like tons, but I can't remember for sure. But it goes up to 50 or something on there. And, beans would be like 30, 34, 36. I've had corn on there and it would be like 42, and the gauge is way down. And you're like, man, and it's loaded.
If that's tons, that'd be what, 84,000 pounds?
See, and it's not right.
42.
Yeah. So look, hey, if we got a cop listening, man, whatever, just whatever.
When we load our steers out and they send a truck to get them,
they have a scale or something?
No, but they know where the scales are.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, like, tell me how to get. They're like, all right, and typically the ones that come to us have been here a time or two, and they know
they know where to go,
because I won't. Where they're going on I-40, they just take highways until they get north of the scale, or I guess east of the scales would be more.
See, accurate. We were trying to figure out.
Then they get on.
There's no way for me to cross state lines without getting on a scale. Like that was what we were trying to maybe. I don't know. From what we can figure out, there isn't. But
would it be going? Which state would you be going to? Mississippi,
Arkansas.
Oh yeah, because
there's two. Both bridges.
The river ain't quite that low where you can just.
Yeah.
The bridges you have to cross are
both.
In the scales. Yeah.
But that's.
I say if it was Mississippi, there's a back road somewhere you could hit. But we got that.
I'll tell you
obstacle called the Mississippi River between us and Arkansas.
The biggest load I've ever seen on a big truck. It was not on mine, because my trailer would not hold that much, but it was a Tempty super hopper, and the guy, he got paid per bushel. Like he was hauling for us, and we were like, man, you tell us how much you want to have in there. And he's like, man, load the hell out of it. And it was like I don't remember how long the trailer was, but it was pretty long, but it had really tall sides. And he was like, pile her on there, because he was getting 25 to 30 cents a bushel. Now you think about how much money I've told some people, if you wanted to make some side money, you could haul some stuff. All right. This guy had about, man, it was probably 1,500 bushel of corn on this trailer. It was the most I'd ever seen. I think he weighed 112,000 pounds or something.
Yeah.
And that was a massive. I have personally never hit 100,000, but I have been pretty damn close. I've tried, because I'm like, man, I just want to pull 100,000 pounds. Like, I've got, with my Kenworth with full fuel tanks, biggest load I could possibly put on there, I think I got up to like 98,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And so, and that was just, man, that trailer was loaded, which, I don't want to do that all the time, because, you can tell, like, the truck feels like it weighs 100,000 pounds. And, I can't imagine the dude that had 115,000 or 110, whatever it was, that truck, it had like 75 less horsepower than my Kenworth. It was actually a really old cab over that he had kind of fixed up. It was a cool truck, but damn, I bet it felt like it was loaded like shit.
Yeah.
Like, so that's a big freaking load.
So you just waiting to hear back from them?
Yeah, well, if the guy, they texted today, I was going to say for reference, like one truckload at 25 cents a bushel, I'd say most guys are getting 30 now. That's $450 he's making a truckload. Now he's having to buy fuel, and it's his truck and trailer, but he was getting 3 or 4 loads a day.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. With fuel prices. And how long ago was that?
2 years ago.
Oh, they got to be getting a whole lot more than that now just because fuel's.
Yeah. Yeah.
2 years ago was back in, yeah, that'd have been back in Trump times. So yeah,
fuel's
twice as much now.
Much cheaper. But yeah, I'm waiting to hear back. They texted today and just said that they were doing their best to get unloaded so they could start taking contracts. I didn't text anything because I'm just waiting. I'm not going to say anything. Friday or Saturday, whichever day I start cutting.
Well, let me ask you this, just because I'm thinking about it. What percentage of what you think will be your total harvest is on those contracts?
Man, that's hard to say.
I mean, is it half or is it close to 90? I mean,
I've got about 20,000 booked left with them, and I'm figuring I may end up cutting 30,000 bushels.
So they need.
They need to take.
I was wondering if you only had like 10% of your crop, like
no.
Yeah, you could just wait, and once they get things sorted out, even if it's a month from now, you could haul the last little bit to them.
No,
but now you need 2/3 of your
your
truckloads need to go to them.
Yeah,
they need to get that figured out.
Well, and that's what I mean. Whenever I start back cutting, I'm going to text them and say I'm cutting beans, got a truck loaded. You open? And if they say no, I'm going to say, all right, well, he's going somewhere else. And I mean, it'll.
Yeah, I'm trying to honor this contract, and you're not letting me. Yeah. I would think. I mean, of course, you don't want to get lawyers and whatnot involved, but I would.
But if I have to, I will. That's what I told somebody the other day. I said,
I would think that. I mean, I'm not even close to a lawyer, but I would think that would be a pretty slam dunk. Like, yeah.
Especially the fact I'm not even asking for equity. Like I'm literally.
I think you probably. And again, I'm not no expert in this field, but I would.
I think they should pay me $1 million.
Yeah.
In equity.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. So that turned into pretty much like the majority of the episode almost.
Well, yeah. Well, hell, that had me on the edge of my seat. I was excited.
I know now. I wish I would have told him to kiss my ass. That would have if I had known that this would have been like the episode, I would have said something like, I would have said like, something cool like I am the wall, progress bangs its head against. I would have had to have something
your
John Dutton moment.
Yeah. Speaking of that, have you seen the trailer or whatever they call it for them?
I have.
So apparently he wins governor.
Yeah, they gave that away immediately.
Yeah, which I guess, hey, yeah, whatever.
But I thought that was kind of like
spoiler alert, but it's in the trailer, so they already spoiled it. It's like they're swearing him in, like in the.
Well, in News Channel 3 the other day, we had it on in here when I went in and was getting some coffee, and they were like, "Yeah, John Dutton is now governor," and I was like, "Well, shit." I thought that was like part of the big, like that was the cliffhanger of the episode because isn't he running against Jamie?
I can't remember how it ended, or like Jamie, like he was going to force Jamie was not going to. I think. The whole thing was Jamie wouldn't run against him.
Yeah.
Because Jamie, when he shows up for the announcement, Jamie thinks he's showing up to throw his support behind Jamie. And instead, no, he buttons his coat and walks down the stairs and says, I'm here to announce.
That's right.
That's when he gave the famous, I'm the
wall, progress bangs its head against. That was like the best. That's the best quote. Like when I die, I want that on my tombstone.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of and I know, I think we first mentioned that on this podcast. We talked about all the quote-unquote progress that's supposed to be going on in our area, which the more people I talk to, because everybody I talk to, I'm like, I don't know if it's a good thing or not. And most people, surprisingly to me, I'm like, hell, I don't think it's a good thing. I'm like, oh, well, shit, we're on the same side of this.
Yeah.
Because I would figure people are like, oh, hell yeah, more jobs, whatever, no, like, yeah, but whatever. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole again today.
Well, I got a question, and it's going to be something you're going to have to answer.
Okay. Well, I hope I can.
From Tyler Bolin. He wrote into us. Tyler, thanks for writing in. As we always say, we love listener questions. That's the best. Go to our website, talkdirtpodcast.com. Submit your question. Bobby Lee may even throw in a thing in here, like the little. Isn't there some way you can like?
Oh yeah, I can put it on there where it says Talk Dirt.
Something
like shows talkdirtpodcast.com on the video.
What about the little tag that pops up? Can you link a website in that? The little thing, the little black thing that will pop up at the top.
Man, I've been doing YouTube for like 2.5 years,
but you're a baller on there now.
Like 150 videos up, and I do not know that.
Well,
I still use like the most basic editing software, but it's the editing software that comes on the Apple products. Like it is on the iPhone,
but it works. You're almost 11,000 subscribers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I keep it simple.
Yep. Keep it simple, stupid man.
Yeah, the KISS theory. Yeah.
Well, you probably won't see a little thing right up here.
Yeah,
with a link.
There won't be a link to click on, but
talkdirtpodcast.com. Go to contact. You can leave us or write us a message in there.
Yeah, if you like the YouTube format, we do have the audio fixed, starting with last video, and I think we're gonna do that from now on, where it'll have the good, crisp, clear audio through the podcast microphones, fancy setup, but then obviously with the video.
Yep. All right, so Tyler writes in, "Hey guys, I just found both of your YouTube channels and the podcast this week, and I'm loving the content on all three. I'm a first-generation farmer in southern Middle Tennessee. Nice. I just sold the first group of feeder calves from that my wife and I purchased. The breakdown per head was almost identical to Bobby Lee's, with the exception of the LRP insurance. I've never heard of this insurance and was wondering if he could talk more about it. Thanks, and keep up the good work."
So, it's livestock risk protection. What makes it really nice is it's subsidized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking some welfare there.
Nice.
So what you do, I've never cashed in on it actually, because the market's always kind of, just done pretty decent. But basically you lock in a price. It's not too different than contracting grain. Yeah. But I guess it is different. And I'm not an expert, so.
Is it like hedge to arrive?
Hell, man, that's, we're going to put this in kindergarten terms. Basically, I talk like my, hell, I'll give him a shout out. It's Alliance Ag Risk Management.
Yeah.
William Lee is
both our insurance man.
Yeah. So he pretty much, we're looking at it, and it's all based on where futures are. And he's like, I'm expecting these calves to be 800 pounds when I sell them, and I'm going to sell them in November, which is how we did it this year, even though we ended up selling them early, which of course canceled it all out, but it didn't matter. We're looking at the futures. You can pretty much guarantee, $1.80, whatever, but it's going to cost you this much per head.
Yeah.
And basically, so you're buying insurance to protect yourself. And it's not even based on what you get for your calves, because your calves may end up being fantastic and bring over what the board says, feeder cattle are bringing, or they may be trash and bring less, but whatever. It's just all based on the board. So my whole thing was like, if China decided to invade Taiwan and global markets just crashed or something, another pandemic hits, or, they call them these black swan events that just overnight the cattle market just plummets. And you're, caught with your pants down because you didn't have nothing protected. And so that's what it is. And what makes it, because we've bought, or I guess the other way we've hedged in the past essentially was more like buying a put, is the way it was explained to me, but it's not subsidized.
Yeah.
So with the LRP, the big advantage there is it is subsidized. I'm not much more of an expert to talk on it much more than that, but that was, and in my video, I can't even remember. I probably got it here in some of my notes and all my fancy notebooks I bring with me everywhere I go. I think we had spent about $12 a head. I got it right there. So
that's what the insurance was.
Yeah.
So if you're getting $1.80, I mean, that's still, I mean, that's nothing in the grand scheme per head.
Well, that's $1.80 per pound.
Yeah.
So now, and I think I was paying $12 a head for that insurance, and so.
What would that come out a pound? I mean, that'd be like nothing per pound, I guess. Because I'm thinking of it from a row crop standpoint. You know, everything is per acre. That's how we break it down.
Yeah, $12 per head, and yeah.
That's just
for an 800 pounder. Yeah,
pennies a day.
Yeah,
not even a day.
It's a very little. Well, I mean, you're looking at. I think what did we say we cleared this year?
$350 a head.
I wish. No, it wasn't. Wasn't quite that much.
Wasn't it 200?
Yeah, it was right around $200. It's embarrassing. I can't remember that. So yeah, $12. I mean, that's I mean, some, but it's worth it to, when I go to bed at night, I can control, generally speaking, how healthy my calves are and, roughly how much weight they're going to gain. Like I can control all that, and my death loss is relatively controllable. What I can't control is something just completely stupid
on the markets,
messing up the markets, and even to an extent, like I can plan on like, just looking at fundamentals and stuff on the market, supply and demand, all that, and I listen to all these reports and whatnot every day.
Yeah,
but stuff like that, like something happening literally halfway across the world that all of a sudden causes markets to crash, or all of a sudden, the Chinese whether they're invading Taiwan or releasing viruses, they affect markets all the time, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not a very in-depth explanation of that.
I think it explains it pretty well, though.
Yeah. That's about as much as I understand about it.
Yeah. Well, there you go, man. I think that's way more than I ever knew about it. So hopefully, Tyler, hope that helps you out.
And it's not, I said it's subsidized. It's something like 30% of it, man. And I'm just throwing that out there. It's not, the government doesn't pay for all of it for you, obviously, because it costs me that much per head, but they pay for roughly a third or so of it.
Well, reach back out, Tyler. If you got any more questions, feel free to reach out. You can reach out to Bobby Lee directly on Instagram. All the information will be in the descriptions, but you can, or just reach back out to us on talkdirtpodcast.com. We appreciate it. We're going to have to save the one for like next week.
Well, which one? Your spooky?
No. The other one.
Yeah, I don't want to. We had another subject that we were going to go into. This.
That one's going to go. I can just tell that one will be one we'll go too far on, or not too far, but too long on to be with about 10 minutes left.
We're already at 47 minutes. Yeah, it's a funny topic.
It is
a little bit ag related. I mean, it's ag related. It is.
Yeah, man, it's ag.
But yeah, that's what we call a teaser.
There you go. Yeah, you'll want to tune in next week. No. All right. So the scary thing or the creepy thing. So I think I was I don't know that I've asked you.
The granary ordeal is kind of scary.
Yeah. It's going to get crazy. I really believe it will. But, I'm going to ask you if you've seen the movie. I don't even know why I'm going to ask you because I already know the answer.
I'm not the movie guy.
No, you're not. Have you ever seen The Conjuring? If you say yes, I'm going to be really impressed.
Man, I'm not sure.
Okay, well.
Because that's a fairly recent one.
2013. I mean, that feels pretty recent to me. But
no, that's super recent to me.
Yeah.
It was like last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2013.
I certainly would not bet my life that I've seen it, but.
Well, it is.
What was the basic plot? Now, I'm looking it up now.
So it's in the 70s, and this family gets this house, but it's based on true events. Ed and Lorraine Warren were like these famous demonologists.
No, I don't think I've seen it.
Man, dude, I'm telling you what.
I'm not a big horror. I don't mind I like suspenseful movies.
Yeah.
But like I don't have a desire to be scared.
Well, this movie is scary. I'm gonna tell you.
Creeped.
This one does it, man.
Because I typically don't get scared. And I do. Hell, I'm out on the farm, especially getting to be this time of year early in the morning, way before daylight. It's going deer hunting or whatever. You're out in the woods. There can be some creepy sounds, and none of that scares me. I don't want to watch something that might change that to where
you need to watch this.
Scared to be in the woods.
So you'll think something's in your barn in the morning when you go to check them.
Yeah, see it right there. That's exactly what I don't want.
Because this is so. It's.
I don't want to be scared to go do stuff. I'm very comfortable right now. I know because I've heard you talk about like believing in supernatural, and I'm like, I just really don't. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I've got to.
But you believe in demons.
Well, yeah, to an extent.
Yeah. You know, I mean, they're biblical.
Right. Yeah. It's right. And yeah, I guess if you believe in angels, you gotta believe in demons too. But yeah, I mean, like I don't believe like I'm gonna go be doing chores tomorrow morning before daylight, and
the Civil War ghost is gonna visit you.
Something come out of. Yeah, and here I am tempting it. Now,
I was gonna say, man, you're playing a dangerous game right now.
Yeah.
Well, so
moving on.
You know, me and Austin Legg was supposed to get us out to the haunted prison.
Yeah, y'all gonna visit some haunted penitentiary.
I'm still waiting on that, Austin. But and he told me, and which I did have a person reach out to me, and they were like, haven't you seen any scary movie? Like, this is how this shit goes south. Like, a group of guys is like, this would be funny. Let's go out here. And he said, then they all get killed. And he was like, haven't you seen this? But, so anyways, The Conjuring. Dude, it's awesome. It is awesome. And Ed and Lorraine Warren, they were demonologists. They were, like, commissioned by the Catholic Church. Like, it's all documented stuff. And
so they bought this house?
Not Ed and Lorraine. This family did. Okay. Yeah, it was a farm. That's why I was like, oh man, because I was Googling, looking up.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to watch it.
The world's most haunted farms, and number one was the Old Arnold Estate, which is what The Conjuring is based off of.
Where was it?
Rhode Island, Harrisville, Rhode Island. And it said as soon as the Perrin family bought this place, it was desolate fields, creaking barns with terrifying scarecrows. And says some of the first advice the family got when they moved into the home from some, I guess, locals was leave the lights on at night. And so it was 8 generations of families have lived in the home, and all 8 generations of the families died in the home. So it's been like
just died as an old age?
Well, no. Like, some of them are pretty unpleasant. Like, so they...
like they all died at once, or...
No, over time. 3 of them killed themselves. 2 hung themselves. 1 poisoned himself. 2 drowned. 4 froze to death. 1 was raped and murdered by a farmhand. And so quite a bit of death. Not much of it was like, I don't think the majority of it was like going to sleep peacefully in the bed and just not waking up. So a lot of unpleasant death in the home. And so this family buys it. And in the movie, it's, man, I'm telling you, it's a solid scary movie. Like most more modern scary movies just don't do it for me. Like I still love Michael Myers. I was going to try to, some guy, if you're watching the YouTube, you may see our Jason mask on the cow skull. I've got a legit Michael Myers mask over there, but I don't have anything to put it on. But I love Halloween and all those. Dude, this movie, so I'll tell you one scene. This is the best scene.
Well, I might watch it now. Like I might.
Well, this is a good. Well, you need to. I'm telling you need to. And there's this game, and I've never played this with my children. I'm confident you've never played this with yours. Have you ever played a game where you blindfold yourself and one of the kids, they have to clap and you have to try to find them?
No.
And I guess it's like Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Well, the mom and the dad is a trucker, so he's gone a lot. And the girl, all of the kids are at school, I guess, except for the youngest. And she's there with the mom, and it's a 2-story house. It's a pretty big house. And the mom is like, she's playing the game with the little girl. And she goes, Marco. I think she says Marco or whatever. And when she says that, the girl has to clap. And so the mom is like, listen, going to the clap. Man, the the whole movie is just, you're like unnerved, like the whole movie. Like it's got this
kind of unnerving me just to hear you tell the story.
Well, it's good. I'm trying to set the pace here. What is this? So, but I wish I had some better stuff on there. But anyways, she goes up the stairs, and the little girl, the mom's like, clap, and you hear her clap, and it comes out of this bedroom. And so the mom, again, she's blindfolded. She's like feeling the walls, and she's kind of grinning because she's like hears her. And there's this dresser. She goes into the room, and there's this dresser in there. It's a big like 2-door dresser that opens up, and she goes, clap. And she's grinning because she knows she's in this room. And you see the doors ease open on the dresser, and just 2 arms reach out from the clothes and clap, and then they go back into the clothes. And the mom grins.
When you're watching, can you clearly tell it isn't kids' hands?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Like it looks, you're like, all right. And and then she goes over there and she goes, and reaches into the thing, and she's like, I got you. And then there's nothing in there. And then the little girl jumps in at the door, and she's like, you didn't find me. And the mom like rips her thing off, and she's like freaked out. Dude, it was chilling as hell. Like,
so she doesn't like find a ghost, but she
finds nothing in there, but she
knows that there was something there.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a kid.
Yeah, because she hears the doors open. Like you hear the doors ease open on the dresser. I'm telling you, man, it is that part. I don't know.
It seems like I've seen that scene, whether it be on previews or people
they may have shown
put it on social media to,
everybody. It is awesome.
Like takes movie scenes and tries to make them represent other things.
Well, it's one of the most. It was one of the most like just unnerving scenes.
But then nothing bad happens to either of them in that.
Not in that moment, but it definitely comes. And so it was interesting reading this. So the farm's most dreadful ghost was called Bathsheba Sherman. And she was a rumored Satanist, which, first off, man, why do you want to be a Satanist? Like you're just asking for trouble. Rumored Satanist who hung herself from a tree behind the barn in the early 19th century. Her mother told a reporter from the Providence Journal in 1977 that she once woke up to find the head of an old woman shouting, get out, I'll drive you out with death and gloom. So that was Bathsheba Sherman. And it just builds from there, and it gets pretty shitty before they get out of the house. So I thought that was pretty interesting. That seems to be the most haunted farm because they live on a farm. They're not farmers, but they do live on a farm. And yeah, gets pretty rowdy.
Okay, so that's our kind of our first little spooky Halloween season.
If you haven't watched The Conjuring
preview,
watch The Conjuring.
Or talk to me. We're going to try to make that a theme.
Yeah,
all the way up. What? Trying to see. Obviously, there'll be 4.
Man, it'd be great if it falls on like the 31st.
No, Halloween's on a Monday, so we'll have 3 more episodes after this one that'll be have some type of Halloween.
Okay, so we'll get to do the full month.
Some type of Halloween element to them.
Maybe progress as we go.
Yeah. Well, we got a pretty good one, we think.
Yep.
It's a pretty good topic.
What's your number 1 horror movie?
Man,
well, you said you don't watch a lot. If you had to pick one.
Man, I'm gonna leave something out that I'm not thinking about. Heck, I don't even know.
I mean, what has any movie just scared you?
Oh yeah, but I'm trying to even think. Well, like I say, the last time I went to the movie theater was No Country for Old Men.
Did that one scare you?
No,
that's a suspenseful film.
Oh yeah, no,
that's a great movie. I love that movie.
I'm trying, or did no. That's I lied because I was about to say
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I was about to say I took my son to see
Jurassic World Dominion or whatever.
So
that's a long one for a kid.
That's kind of scary.
It had some intense moments.
My son got scared a couple times, but I don't know. Heck, I can't even think of any good.
Man, come on, man! Everybody wants to know what scares the cattleman.
Well, I don't watch them, so I don't.
The Blair Witch Project, did that one freak you out?
I've never seen that one.
Oh man, dang it, man!
What was there was another one. oh man, a bunch of them involve little kids, but I was like, that's not going to narrow.
Children of the Corn.
No, this was a fairly recent one, which by that it was probably older than 2013.
Yeah,
this would have been like, was The Ring? What was that one about?
That's where the chick comes out of the TV. She comes climbing up out of the well. If you watch the video, you die in 7 days.
I don't know that I saw that one then, actually. Heck, I can't.
Man, the kid. What did the kid do?
I don't even remember.
All right, it had a kid in it.
It seemed like it was like, maybe it was set in like Asia.
Is that my phone or your phone that's picking that up?
I hear it, but I don't know.
I'm going to turn mine on airplane mode real quick. Oh, man. Well, The Ring, I think, had some... No, The Grudge. Was it The Grudge?
That sounds like it could have been...
I think The Grudge had that...
But I can't even remember the plot, but I'm like, oh, that's just the most recent one I can remember.
Did you ever see the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I don't know that I've seen the original. I saw all which I don't know, some people, are these horror films or not? Crap, I can't even remember. The ones where the guy, like, takes all the people who have done something bad in their life and makes them, like, go through the...
Saw.
Yeah, all the Saws.
Yeah, that was, well, you came in too late. Scary Movie 4 opens with a parody. It's actually Dr. Phil and Shaq.
Those were coming out, like, when I was in, like, vet school, and a couple of the guys I was in vet school with were kind of... They
weren't even scary. Those were just
gore
fest. I'm not a fan of gore.
They made you, I don't know, they were creepy. Like,
yeah,
it was.
Oh, they were creepy, but like, I don't even lump them. See, like, I don't lump them in with like The Conjuring or Halloween or any of those.
And like, I don't watch that and like enjoy it either.
No,
like, but I'm saying something like with a horror. Like,
I like those. But not Saw. Saw, like, I watch those and I'm like, man, the guy that came up with this is a weird cat. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like, if I'm like I don't know, what's some recent movies?
Like scary movies or just?
No, just movies in general. Like I look forward to it and enjoy watching like a good.
What's a recent movie I've even watched?
Well, like the Jurassic World. Like I was like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna enjoy this. Like, I don't know, like The Conjurings, I'm sitting here thinking about sitting down and watching it one night at home. Like, I'm like, oh man, I dread that.
Oh, I would probably not necessarily see. I used before I got married and I lived by myself. Man, I had to stop watching scary movies because I would be here by myself. And like I would watch them at night when I got in, and I would be pretty damn like I'd be alarmed going to bed. Like some of them.
See, I don't want to do that. Like life's short, man. I don't want to be torturing myself for.
Well, I did some. I definitely did some back, and so I finally now the worst one I ever watched, and I know you didn't see this, but it's called Lords of Salem. Now I've never watched. Like I'm not one of them guys. Like I've had people before. I mean, Bobby Lee and I both have said before, we're both, very strong Christians. We're firm in our faith. I've never been one of those guys that thinks that you can become possessed by a movie. Like I've had people that are like, you don't need to have that kind of stuff in your home. Like talking about the movies, because I have a shelf full of horror movies. I love horror movies. Now I like some of the real cheesy ones too. I got the Universal Monsters collection where it's like the creature from the Black Lagoon, the original Dracula. Those are not scary at all. They're just, I don't know. I like them from the old standpoint. But Lords of Salem was the first movie I've ever watched that I turned it off. And like, I remember I was watching it by myself. Rob Zombie made the movie. And there's this part where this chick goes into this hotel room and she gets possessed. And she's like, she watches this thing and it, like the stuff she sees possesses her. And it was so unnerving that I turned it off and I went outside and I put the movie outside my house. And the next day I took it to work and this is probably wrong of me.
Did you ever finish it?
No, I didn't. Yeah. And I gave it to an atheist that I worked with at work. Like the next day I was like, man, I said, you can have this movie. I don't even want it anywhere near me. I was like, this movie is the most, I said, I've never watched anything that like made me feel as unnerved as this. And I was like, you take it and just never bring it back to me. And he was like, well, man, why, if you're worried about it getting you, why are you going to give it to me? And I'm like, you're an atheist. You don't even believe. You just take it.
Yeah.
So that's the first time I've ever had a film do that. Like, and I've watched plenty of like demonic. I mean, The Conjuring has a demonic thing at the end. None of that's ever, but Lords of Salem, no, I'm never watching that movie again.
I've seen Pet Sematary.
Okay, the old one with Fred Gwynn.
Is there a new one?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Newer.
I didn't know that.
Did you know there's a new Munsters?
No.
Did you ever watch the Munsters?
I don't think so.
Man, I love that. Now, that was like back when probably our dads were young.
Yeah.
But I love them. That Rob Zombie made the movie about the Munsters.
Yeah, the Pet Sematary I saw would have been like the 80s or maybe early 90s when it came out. Like
that was a creepy movie.
Oh, yeah, it was real creepy.
The little kid, man. Yeah, he like cuts the guy's Achilles tendon or something.
Yeah, underneath the bed.
God, yeah, I remember. Gosh. Yeah.
That's a terrible movie. Just like sad, depressing.
Yeah, the kid gets hit by a freaking truck.
Yeah, like why do I want to, like, just I sit here and think about like, no, especially now that I've got little kids, like I don't even know that I would be horrified about the horror part of it, but just
watching it,
the little kid die. Like,
well, but isn't that typical? Like Marcy asked me that one time because I remember when we were dating, some of my favorite movies that I got her to watch was Braveheart. His woman gets her throat slit and killed.
Yeah.
And Mad Max, his wife and kid get shot to pieces. The Punisher, his wife and kid get run over and their whole family gets shot to pieces. Like Gladiator, his wife and kid get burned and like still burned alive. And Marcy was like, why does every movie you like, the whole family gets killed? And I'm like, because then the guy goes on an absolute rampage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
man, you're a big fan of the Terminal List. I mean,
yeah, there you go. I mean, that, every one of my favorites, pretty much the whole family dies. Have
you seen, I'm sure you probably have, it's tied back into ag, like in the Gladiator, whenever he's going back home or whatever, and it's like the wheat fields.
Yeah.
But there's the sprayer tracks in the wheat fields.
No, I did not. I've never noticed that.
People are like, what kind of sprayer were they running back then?
No, now I've got to go back and look at that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never noticed that. Is it pretty obvious?
Yeah, I mean, if you know
know anything about farming.
98.5% of people watching the movie don't even think about it. Well, hell, and like me, when I'm watching it, I don't even think about it. Like, clearly, there's some type of wheeled machinery has run through that wheat field. But then I'm asking myself, well, how'd they have their wheat fields so clean back then?
That was true. It was a very pretty, perfect wheat field. Yeah. Wow. No, I'll have to go back and check that out.
Like it was like 90, 100 bushel wheat.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was tall. Yeah.
They didn't have any nitrogen fertilizer back then.
No, that was organic, non-GMO. I don't think it looked like that. I would
imagine they had some like 15 and 20 bushel wheat.
Yes. Yeah, if that.
Maybe not that, yeah.
Now, so then tying it up here, wrapping it up, did you, what about parody horror? Not necessarily, I mean, scary movie, sure, but like, so one of my favorites is Young Frankenstein. That's like my second favorite film of all time.
I've seen the original Scary Movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that was about the time I was in like high school, college. So it was a classic, like just stupid humor.
Yeah.
You were drinking some beers with buddies, watch it kind of thing. But I don't know what other ones I've seen. But I think we were talking about this, 'cause I think I might have seen the first couple of Scary Movies, but I didn't realize they were up to like 4.
No, they're up to like 7.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's like the Fast and the Furious.
Yes. I've quit. I think 4 was the last one I watched. So you haven't seen Young Frankenstein?
No.
Man, like in all honesty, the future of this podcast.
You've talked about it enough.
Hinges upon
on your other podcast and just in general. Like I've got it on a list of like.
Well, I'm saying it here. The future of this podcast hinges upon you watching Young Frankenstein.
I'll watch it.
That is like.
See, there are all these movies and things that when I had COVID,
you should have watched.
Ago, when I was just sitting on the couch feeling miserable for about 2 weeks because it had me down pretty good.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I can't think of it. Like, and we've got like I've got an app or whatever. I can pull up and watch dang near anything I want to.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I think of all these things that I should have watched then.
Well,
when I couldn't do anything else. And
bump Young Frankenstein to the top of the list.
Yeah.
That is the number one, man. You got to watch it. That's, I've said before, my top 2 films in my life are Braveheart and Young Frankenstein. So, like, I know you've seen Braveheart. So,
oh, yeah.
So there you go, man. Young Frankenstein.
Well, Young Frankenstein's Mel Brooks, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're not going to be scared watching that one.
I've heard other, like, because he's made some other pretty funny
Spaceballs.
Yeah, Spaceballs.
Yeah. It's Blazing Saddles.
Yeah. So he's
very politically correct.
Yeah. Yeah, so I imagine I probably would enjoy it.
Yeah, it's exactly the same humor. I mean, it is great. Like, Brent hates Young Frankenstein, and he's a Neanderthal, so like that it's a good movie.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Like go watch it. Marcy even enjoys it. Levi loves it. Like Young Frankenstein, I've shown him. It may be a little inappropriate in spots, but he has seen Young Frankenstein. But yeah, so there's our homework for our listeners. We're going to give you a little homework this week. You need to watch The Conjuring, and then you need to watch Young Frankenstein.
Watch The Conjuring because it does have the farm theme.
Yeah, and there is I think there's a windmill on a farm in Young Frankenstein. So there you go. There's 2 farm themes.
Yeah, might be a little bit of a stretch, but
guys, we do appreciate you watching. If you're watching on YouTube, please. Oh wait, company.
Yeah, you gotta give it a thumbs up.
I told Bobby Lee I'm breaking out from our American-made theme necessarily, but I mean, what's more American? Look at this shirt. Like, if you're watching it, if you can see it.
That's Hawaiian print. Hawaii is America.
Hawaii, yeah.
United States.
And there is it's a scar.
Yeah.
There's a scar. There's a rifle. These are retro rifles, what they're called. The shirt, retro rifle. I mean, there's not much like more. I've wore this to church a few times.
Hawaiian print and rifles. I mean, that's pretty American.
Yep.
But yes, they make all kinds of. They're all Hawaiian print, I guess.
Yeah. Like that, or like Miami Vice kind of feel to it. But they're real. Like
there's always like firearms or hand grenades or some kind of weaponry in the
details.
artistry. Yeah. So
when I wore it to church, a guy that was sitting behind me, he was like at the end of it. He was actually a former. He was in the military, and he tapped me and he said, man, it took me a minute, but then I realized I was like, there's assault rifles on this man's shirt. He was like, this is awesome, man. He said a little while later, my wife leaned over and said, there's guns on his shirt. And he was like, isn't that awesome?
It is.
So retro rifle, check them out. The shirts, they do run a little small. This is an XL and I don't have a ton of room. So now I'm about 210. So kind of judge it there. I would probably go a size up, but retro rifle, they're awesome. Check them out. Please hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave us a rating and a review.
Yep.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Well, we'll do it again next week.
We'll see y'all then. Watch those movies. Get back to us.